Hi writers, let's go over how to use the campus library's online search bar to find the types of sources that you need for your papers. So first of all, I'm at the UCM homepage and I'm going to navigate over here to campus links and choose the library's main page. From there, it takes you immediately to the search bar. I also want to point out this librarian chat function, which is actually really helpful. If you click it, it pulls up a chat screen and you can ask any type of question. Like for example, putting in your paper topic and saying, I'm having trouble finding sources for this topic is a great thing to use this chat for. And if they can't help you in the chat, they'll put you in contact with a librarian in that specific area. So really, really helpful for quick help if you cannot find this type of source that you're looking for. This search bar here will allow you to search anything the library has access to. So a lot of students get confused about this and they think if you're finding it on the library's webpage, it's a scholarly or academic source. But that's not true. The library has access to all types of sources. It will pull up Wikipedia pages. It will pull up Cosmopolitan magazine or like Sports Illustrated. So it pulls up even like regional newspaper like the Chicago Times newspaper. So it pulls up all types of popular professional and scholarly sources. It's the first place to start though when you're searching because some popular sources or professional sources are credible and will be useful for this paper. So I'm going to show you how to find those and then how to filter so that you're finding only scholarly sources. So let's say I'm writing a paper on hip hop. Now keep in mind hip hop is a very, very general search term and you will want to be more specific than this. So you could put sort of hip hop and therapy, hip hop mental health, right? So use this as you would a search like a Google bar. You do not want to put a whole question here. You don't want to type out your research question. You only want to use key terms. And you can also use, I want hip hop to search as a phrase. I don't want it to pull up anything with the word hip in it because I might get some like hip replacement articles, right? So let's do hip hop and therapy and then click the search bar to see what comes up. Now when you do this, you can see I've got over almost 10,000 results, okay? So we are gonna wanna use over here, these are called limiters. And these limiters help us find the types of sources that we want. So one thing you may wanna do is click available online because that will mean it's not something that you have to walk into the physical library and like grab a real life book. These will be things that you can read online. So if you're not in the library at the time, clicking online can help. If you are looking specifically for a scholarly article, you can also click peer-reviewed journals, and that will limit what you see only to, most scholarly articles do come from peer-reviewed journals. You can also limit date. So let's say I don't want anything outdated for this. I'm looking for something that's been published within the last 20 years at least. You can even do language. Every once in a while, it will pull up something in a foreign language. So these limiters can be really helpful to you. Resource type is also helpful here. You may want to specifically look for articles. Again, that will help you find scholarly articles, but newspaper articles, sometimes the New York Times will do an arts piece on hip hop. So that might be actually helpful. And maybe I want to include books and book chapters as well. Yeah, and that should be good. I'm going to include journals just in case. I don't want dissertations. I want sort of the real deal really published. So I'm going to then click this apply filters, and that's going to take 10,000 down to about 8,000. So we still have a lot in here to look for. You can see the source type. You can see if it's peer reviewed. So remember, peer reviewed helps you identify whether it's going to be a scholarly source. Peer review means other scholars in the same field have looked at it and determined it to be valid. And then available online is what you can click. But you'll also see, you'll see maybe like newspaper here, right? So it'll say the type of source that you're looking at. Let's say I think this looks really good, so I could click the title here. I'm gonna click available online though, because that'll take you to some links that will help you access it. It's telling me it's coming through ProQuest and it's full text. So in other words, I'll be able to read the whole thing from my computer, so I want that. You gotta click here or here again to open it up via ProQuest. It's asking me to sign in again. You may get the single sign-on screen, or it may ask you to log back in. And that's just because when When the library buys things, it buys it only for access to people who go to the school or people who teach there. So here I have the abstract and the full text. Now, when we cite a scholarly article, we need to cite page numbers. And you can see the full text here is sort of just a copied and pasted full text. We want to look at the full text PDF, or go up here to download PDF, and that will show you what it looked like originally published, and you can see now there are page numbers. So I could cite a quote and cite from page 2, so you do want to use that PDF thing. Another really important thing to note about scholarly articles, if you find one of those specifically, is a lot of times if it's a study, if it's like a sociological study or a scientific study, there are sections, there are headers with sections, and the headers can be really helpful. So I would skim through the headers first. Some of these can be very long. Often at the end, there's a discussion or a conclusions, and that will tell you sort of what the findings of the study are. And that can sometimes be the best place to start. And here are implications, so like what we should get out of it. So sometimes skimming through and finding the sections that are going to tell you the findings of the study, and then going back through to read more carefully, because the way scientific studies are set up, sometimes it takes a while of describing how the study actually occurred before you get to the point, and sometimes understanding the point first can be helpful. So that's how to use UCM search bar and the limiters to find many different types of sources, but also specifically how to use the limiters if you're finding a scholarly source. Don't forget to use a librarian if you need help finding a source for your paper, or me.